Welcome and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, strategies, and techniques to master your sales conversation. Today is one of my favorite kind of episodes because it's a sales success story with one of my brilliant, amazing, absolutely inspiring clients, Samantha Irwin. She's here to share some of her successes, and the idea behind this is to inspire you to take action so that you can also achieve success in this area of your life and business. Samantha, welcome to the show, friend.
Thank you for having me here. I love it. Thank you so much.
I really should say welcome back. I know you've been on the show. And tell everybody a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again. We keep learning, right? There's so much knowledge that you have that, it's
Aw.
going to take me a while. So what I do is, if the listeners could think of the last time they went, or maybe the last two times they went into a retail store, like a restaurant or a coffee shop or their sports club or a hotel. And hopefully there'll be a time that they'll think, oh my God, this was such a great experience. This person made my day. It was so fun. Typically, people will have a hard time coming up with that. And they'll think, oh, yeah, I can tell me lots of bad stories after I speak. People
Mhm.
come up all the time. So the former, creating those great experiences for frontline customer service staff, that's what I do. That's what I partner with women business owners to create so that their staff is engaged, they're making more money, and their customers are delighted. So, in a nutshell, that's my passion. That's what I do.
And you're so good at this. And you have this ability to pour love, I always say,
Mm.
on staff and help them see the gifts that they bring to that organization and the impact that they make in the organization, which I think inspires them to want to do more, be better, contribute at a higher level. And then also these really maybe simple isn't the right word, but easy to implement techniques that really make the difference in the customer experience.
Mhm.
So, and I know you work with clients in a couple different ways. Will you share a little bit about how people hire you and work with you?
Mhm. And you're right, they are simple, but they're not necessarily easy to implement because it
Okay.
takes a discipline,
Yes.
takes an awareness and a discipline. Yeah, yeah. So, your question was how people work
Work
with
with
me?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, love speaking and workshops for organizations, and women business leaders typically will hire me to do strategy sessions and then some staff training. So we have a plethora of tools that people can utilize, from individual training to online programs to I call it drip irrigation for your staff. It's called creating a culture deck, weekly drip irrigation that helps to inspire, elevate, motivate staff to really perform well, to understand what their impact and their influence is. To get it, because if they don't get it, they're not showing up. If they don't feel and understand how valued they are, they're not going to show up for a business owner in the way that the business owner wants them to show up.
And frankly, needs them to show up,
Oh, yeah. Yes,
right?
needs them to show up. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of choices when you're picking the restaurant. There's a lot of choices when you're picking like the place you're going to spend your money. And you want to go where the experience is positive, where you feel
Yes.
good about spending your money there. You feel good about the way you have been engaged with or not engaged with. Like there's nothing worse than walking into some place and just feeling like you're not seen as a customer.
Oh,
Like, do they not see me? Like I'm standing here, are they going to seat me or am I supposed to seat myself? Like if you're creating that kind of experience for your clients, they're not going to go back. I definitely don't go back to places like
mhm.
that. I'm so critical about good customer service.
Yeah, me too. And I'm definitely not going to send someone or take someone that I want to impress to that place, whether it's a hotel or a restaurant or a coffee shop. It doesn't matter if the coffee's amazing. If the experience, if I walk in and I feel like as a customer, I'm an interruption to their work, not the reason for their work,
Mm.
then yeah, I'm not going back. It's not a monopoly. There's plenty of other choices. So
There
yeah.
sure are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And business owners, they want people who are engaged. They want people who who work as passionately and as into it when they are there and when they are not there. The owner is there and they're
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
They want them to stay longer. They want them to act like partners, but yet staff won't do that. The majority of staff won't do that unless they understand two things. They understand they matter to you as a leader, and then they have some skills to be able to perform for you.
Mhm.
Because when people, whether it's a transitional job or they've been there a while, everyone wants to know that they're making a positive difference. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. Most people want to know that they can make a positive difference and that they have impact.
Yeah. The other thing I think from a business owner standpoint and from an investment standpoint is that when you have a bad experience at a place of business, you don't say like, "Oh, that person, like
Mhm.
they were, they're bad at their job." Maybe you do, but you attach it to the restaurant or to the place of business. And so it's so important to train your staff and help them develop these skills, because people don't walk out the door saying like, well, I'm not going to go back when so and so is working. They say I'm never going back to that place. I'm not. And so it's such a big reflection on the business owner and impacts their bottom line, frankly.
You're 100%. I called a friend for a business associate friend for a different reason. And she launched into, because she knows what I do, she launched into this story. My heart was hurting. I was sitting in the car after a doctor's appointment. She's saying, oh my gosh, she's got a favorite women's boutique store that she goes to, and she drops some coin there on a fairly regular basis. And she happened to go in, I think it was on a weekend. I'm not sure if they weren't normally open. I don't know what the circumstances were, but they were open. She goes in and the gal is just not, you could tell she's not happy to be there. She even says she's almost closed. She's not normally open. It was such an uncomfortable experience for my friend that she at first felt like, oh my gosh, she opened on an off day. I should buy something. Maybe feel obligated, which would be a good thing if it's that what you teach with reciprocity.
Yeah.
And but it didn't go that way, because the person who was working there just it made my friend feel very uncomfortable and in a rush. And so she said, I saw these cute things on a sale rack and I didn't even try them on. And not only did she lose my friend that day where she could have made a sale, or
Yeah.
the business could have made a sale, but my friend was so irritated. She said, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
And my heart just broke open. I thought, oh my gosh, this business had a very loyal, profitable client.
Yeah.
And one interaction that was multiple boo-boos, it
Hmm.
wasn't just one thing. It ruined it. It ruined that relationship, and she told me. I mean, she's not
Right.
going to go tell other people, but it's
Well,
so
she
important.
might,
You
right?
might
Like, yeah,
it's so
something like,
important. Like, you've gotta know when you are working any front-facing customer
mhm.
position, you've got to know your impact and your influence, and they're simple things to do, but they're challenging to continually do them well. It is an art and a craft.
Yeah. Yeah. You just made me think of, I went into a place of business for the first time last week, and it was 15 minutes before they were closing. And I was aware of that. So I went in to look at something in particular. And so I thought, I'll look at it and I'll make a decision quickly. I'm buying it or not buying it. Went in, looked at it, decided I wasn't going to buy it, but still had a couple minutes left. And so I picked something up that I did want to buy. And I took it up to the front counter and I said to the woman, I realize that you guys are about to close, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And she said, oh, no, no, no. Please take your time. Look around. She's like, I'm working on some things. I'm going to be here. So just take your time. Look around, which we did. And so instead of buying one thing, we actually bought 5 things and I think we spent 4 times the money that I was originally had set up, the value of the thing I'd set up on the counter to purchase. So that's like the contrary, right?
Mhm.
Experience to what you just gave, of somebody just making me feel welcome and not pressured to get out of the store because, they had someplace else they wanted to be or didn't want to be there or whatever. And it just makes a difference in any of your clients. So anybody listening, if you have people on your team, whether they're contractors or employees, if they are client facing, the way they engage with your client matters. So it is your job as the business owner to provide training, skill sets that help them represent you in the way that you want to be represented.
Yes. Amen.
And that's
Mic
what
drop.
Samantha does.
Yes. When you started that story, I was bracing myself for some really uncomfortable situations. So I'm glad that it turned out well.
Oh, it was lovely. And you better believe I'll go back there. Like I'd
Yeah.
never been before, but when I think of that type of a store and when I'm in need for something, that will be the store that I go to
Ugh.
first because the experience was so pleasant and welcoming. And I felt comfortable to actually take a few extra minutes, look around again, found, I don't know, 4 more things to buy.
Oh, so good. If you're open to considering it, because retail and sales and they're challenging. You're constantly getting beat down. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you're open for it, but writing them a note and just saying how great your experience was would probably make somebody's day like by miles and miles and
You're
be a
right.
great example for any other staff they have if you felt so inclined.
I'll tell you what I will do is I will go write a Google review so that
Oh,
other
there you
people can see
go.
it too. I love that you asked for that. That's such a great sale. Like, okay, everybody, Samantha has just really upped her game right there. Like on the podcast, she's encouraging this testimonial in the moment when somebody has something positive to say, you follow up with this ask. So, and I love the way you did it. It was so pleasant and
So
sweet.
gentle. An invitation.
So
Well,
gentle.
what you just heard, all the people out there, is you heard an invitation. Well, what you didn't hear or see is I recognized what Nikki talks about as a buying signal. And then I issued a gentle invitation. This is all stuff that I've learned from you, my dear.
Okay, we're going to move to the success part of your story because I know there's something in particular that you have really embraced and had success with, and I want to share it with audience to encourage and inspire. So I'm going to let you dive in.
Oh, sure. Well, okay. First of all, I've been thinking about this a while. There's so many things that I have learned from you, and I will continue to learn from you in the Sales Maven Society, and then those calls that you have twice a month that people come in the society and they ask anything they want. I show up even when I don't have a question because I'm always learning from the other people's questions, and it's constantly reinforcing things that I've learned a while ago. You have this ocean of information and knowledge that you're sharing about the selling staircase and integrity, selling with integrity and with your neurolinguistic background programming. So some of the things that I'll talk about today they're like the tip of the iceberg. I didn't know before I joined the Sales Maven Society what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And you have taught me things that have changed the way I interact with clients. One of the very first ones was you had said something in the group call about if your discovery calls are lasting an hour, you're not doing a discovery call, you're coaching or consulting. And it was like you spoke right to me. And I went, oh, crap. So one of the first game changer was that discovery call template or the template, whatever you call your coffee calls or whatnot. And that was a huge game changer for me because what was happening is I was not understanding why after I would meet people and I was giving them such great value during our time that they wouldn't continue to book me. Well, now I know, right? I know that I was giving the tip of the iceberg to them, but they thought it was the whole iceberg.
That's right.
Right. And plus it was far too long. So having that discovery call template was a huge game changer for me. I'm still working on it, still a work in progress, but that was gigantic. How to frame options for clients with top-down selling, giving the menu, recognizing buying signals, inviting people to take the next step, the selling staircase. What else? Following up, issuing gentle invitations, understanding how to answer or address or even find out about maybe possible objections. So all of these things, all of this language that I'm using that now I get, and somebody who might be listening might be thinking, well, I don't really get what all that is. If you're willing, I have a story to share to kind of illustrate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear it. I love a story. I'm in.
Okay. So I'm a gardener. I love to garden. And part of the story is embellished. Okay. Just FYI.
Little disclaimer there for all of us.
Disclaimer. So I have a garden. Our neighbors, they're great gardeners, and they have this pickle recipe that is phenomenal. It is so good. We've got the recipe, and we give pickles out for Christmas gifts. And they're coveted, highly coveted, so
Wow.
coveted that people have said, I would buy those from you. So my husband and our fake son love to play baseball. This is true. My husband loves to play baseball. And our quote son wants to do a camp next summer. And the camp is expensive. And he is at the age where he's needing to learn a little bit more responsibility, fiscal responsibility, saving, delayed gratification. So it's the perfect time and for him to contribute to this camp. So we decided we would pay for half and he's going to earn money to the other half. He's decided he's going to become a pickle franchisee. And he got so many pre-orders for pickles that he was going to can. His job to, grow them, that he would be, if he met his goal, 90% to his goal for saving for this camp that he really wants to go to. So it's a fun thing for Jeff, my husband, and him to do. So I was like, okay, you guys have at it. And there's some other things to plant. So we've got zucchini, carrots, cucumbers. Cucumbers make the pickles. That's what we're going for. Squash. And so I've got all the seeds, and they get it out. They start planting in the garden, and away they go. I'm hands off on this project because it's them. So summer comes along, they've got to cull some seeds, right? Because you've got too many plants all growing up. And then they're watering, they're nurturing, they're getting very excited all summer long, taking care of these baby plants because, the harvest of all the cucumbers so that they can make the pickles, make the money. The harvest comes, and it is a beautiful, it's just looking like a bounty. The harvest comes, and they're bringing things in, and I'm aware of what these plants are, and there are a bunch of zucchini. They're not a bunch of cucumbers. Like a crap ton of zucchini, right?
And you better come up with a really good zucchini bread recipe.
Oh my gosh. It was heartbreaking. So I'm going out, I'm looking at the patch, realizing, oh, come on, my heart's breaking. Like there's so many zucchini, there's pretty much crap for cucumbers. And there's even a big patch of weeds because when the plants are young, they couldn't tell the difference really between the zucchini, the cucumber, and then the weeds, because there is one weed that looks a lot like it. So it was very, very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Now, what that story illustrates is when I talked at the beginning about framing the conversations and what I learned from you about framing my discovery calls, that's planning the garden and knowing what you're putting in each section. And they didn't know that. The planting the seeds, they mix up the zucchini and the cucumber seeds. That's knowing which ones are the correct ones we want, because we want the cucumbers, but they didn't know which seeds to plant. That is something you've taught me in business, how and when and where to plant the correct seeds. Knowing which ones of these little baby plants to cull so that you're not ending up with a whole bunch of zucchini and a weed patch is what we call, or what you call, is identifying buying signals. And then the nurturing, the watering, the weeding, the sun, all the parts in the process of growing that plant is the selling staircase. It's knowing how to do the next step.
Yeah.
So that at the end, we've got a whole bunch of cucumbers and we haven't wasted our time and effort on growing a bunch of, or nurturing, spending time with a bunch of zucchini plants when we actually wanted the cucumbers to be able to make the money that we wanted to make. So
right.
That hopefully will help people give them an understanding of the language that now is very common, and I understand it, you understand it, but hopefully that'll give listeners who don't have that construct yet a visual of, we need to know what seeds and planting, how to nurture them, all the things. So
first of all, I love a story, so thank you for that. It's super fun the way you related it back. And when I think about this kind of in my own kind of way of selling and the relationship building and all of that, it is so true that you do want to spend your time and energy cultivating, what I'm going to say are your buyers
Mhm.
and recognizing what's a buyer, what's a time suck, right? Like what's a buyer, what's somebody who just wants your free stuff? What's a buyer versus somebody who wants your attention but doesn't actually want to pay money for it, right?
Yeah.
Like all of these things and being able to weed that stuff out because they are time sucks. And it doesn't make the person a bad person who doesn't want to buy from you. It just means that's not a good use of your time and energy and resources because ultimately to grow your business, there has to be an exchange of dollars for services.
Mhm.
So, or product, however you want to look at that. So I love this. Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing. Thank you for being in the society. You're a fantastic member. You're a beloved member in the group. Um, and such a great contributor. So I really appreciate that. And it's fun to watch your business evolve and grow, and for you to evolve and grow and be able to stand in these places of like, this is how I show up in the room. This is how I, handle myself in sales conversations, and the confidence that you have is really exciting. And I
Oh.
hope that people listening will be inspired by that.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, it's ever evolving, ever growing. There's so much to learn. Yeah.
Well, I always say I'm a lifelong learner, and I tend to spend a lot of time with other lifelong learners. Like we're all
Mhm.
growing together. This is a
Yeah.
this is a team effort. It's a collaboration. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you for being here. I am really excited to see what's coming next in your business. I want to ask you, what is something exciting coming up for you? Anything that you want to share?
Oh, I have come up with a couple more fun speaking topics for, well, not come up with, I'm leaning into doing more speaking because I've found that there's a very much need and people enjoy the lessons, the takeaways. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Any topic you're willing to share? Like what's the topic?
Oh yeah, curating your customer experience. Oh my gosh, what
Here, let me
curating?
put you on the spot.
Yeah. Curating your customer experience, transforming your people into partners.
Mm,
So transforming those staff from, you don't want to push a rope. Transforming your people into partners.
yes.
Lots of things around staff development and continual learning because, like you said, you are a continual learner. I am as well.
Yeah.
Taking the next step.
Yeah.
So taking the next step is another topic that resonates with a lot of women business owners. We don't have to we don't have to know it all tomorrow. So
True.
taking the next step, because Kaizen, my business name is it means continual improvement. So you and I are on the very same wavelength. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
All right, friend, thanks for being here. For you, the listener, thank you for tuning into the podcast. I hope that you found something that you'll take away from this and think about how are you spending your time and energy and
Mhm.
resources, and what is the thing that's calling for your attention right now? What's the goal and what's it going to take to get there? I feel like Samantha gave us a really good lesson with her story around that. So I am wishing you continued success. Have a great rest of your day.